We ought to get the mayor out there and play with us too.
Yep. There you go.
I'm really good at driving the cart.
And giving out beer.
I did not say that. I said I am very good at driving the
Driving
cart.
the cart. There you go. Yes.
She hangs on every word, so you got to
There you
watch.
go.
Hello, Robin.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey,
Hi,
Robin.
Robin.
Hi.
All right, Council, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It is 5:30. And welcome, everybody. This is our City Council study session for August 9th, 2021. This meeting will be held virtually. I'll call the meeting to order. And the public participation is that the meeting is held virtually and in person. City Council is meeting virtually at this time. So, Sean, are we okay?
Yes, Deputy Mayor, I just want to make
Okay.
a note that it is virtual and in person.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. And those in the public, you can view on YouTube. There is a virtual link and you may call in as well to this meeting. Sean, will you please call the roll?
Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Here.
Councilmember Baggett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Brown.
We'll say he's excused at this time.
Councilmember J-Raj.
I'm here.
Councilmember Malinga.
Here.
Councilmember Stern. He's being promoted as we speak.
Okay.
Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Here.
And Councilmember Stern. Councilmember Stern, can you hear me? Councilmember Stern? Councilmember Stern, can you hear us?
Oh, hi.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
There we go. Good evening. All right. Okay, Council, we have a couple of items on our agenda this evening, so we'll move into items for Council discussion. And the first item on the agenda is the waste management contract implementation with Director Thomas.
Hello, good evening, Council.
Good evening.
We're going to have a presentation from an outside presenter tonight for the Council to be updated on the current waste management contract transition. I'm going to hand the meeting over to Joe Nelson, our utility billing manager, to introduce us.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. As Jamie said, we're here with Laura Moser from Waste Management. She is our public sector manager for the city of Auburn, and we've had the pleasure of working with her for many years.
Joan, I hate to interrupt you, but you're very faint on the video where we can hardly hear you.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
No.
No, we cannot.
Okay.
I can go ahead and step in. I'm sorry, Joan.
That's good, thank you.
We could hear you. It was just very, very faint. So it's just going to be a quick transition. I'm going to hand the meeting over to Laura Moser from Waste Management. She is our really contract rep on the waste management side. She knows everything about the city of Auburn and everything about our contract and the transition. And she truly is, next to Joan, the expert with this contract. So with that, thank you, Laura, for joining us tonight, and I will hand it over to her.
Hi, thank you, Jamie, and Council and Mayor. It's so nice to see everybody. I'm hoping I do this right and share my screen and you can see the PowerPoint I put together to just touch base on all the things that are going on and will be going on as we're implementing the new contract. So bear with me just 1 second. See if this works. Oh, I see all kinds of stuff here. Let's see. Oh, wasn't the right one I
We
wanted
can
to
see
show
your screen
you.
now.
Do you see the whole, just the whole screen? Just the
We can see your
PowerPoint slide?
PowerPoint.
Excellent. Okay. So like I said, I'm Laura with Waste Management. And yes, I work very, very closely with Joan and have for many, many years. And we are undertaking a massive, massive change in services with the city of Auburn. So some of the highlights, this will move for me. I apologize, I'm not very good at PowerPoint here, but some of the highlights with our new contract that will be starting on October 1st of this year. We're delighted to be bringing in all of West Hill and Lee Hill under one service contract. So Auburn will just have one service provider. We started our Think Green street litter crew early on January 4th, and that crew is out there picking up litter and illegal dumping. We started handling some customer calls on August 1st at our call center to try to alleviate some of the pressure on the city's call center when all the swaps started with the carts. And then on October 1st, we will fully take over customer call handling and be able to upgrade and change customer services, et cetera. And we also will become the city's billing agent on October 1st. We're in the process of rerouting the city right now. Those changes will happen on October 1st. That allows us to bring in those 2 new service areas and to keep all the garbage we collect just City of Auburn. Then we're starting an on-demand bulky collection. So we're going away from the old way that we've done it for a long time with the one Saturday collection. Will now be customers can call in 1 time a year and get up to 4 bulky items picked up when it's convenient for them. So that'll be a really nice addition. We've brought in all new compressed natural gas trucks that run on renewable natural gas with what we call smart truck technology, which is all kinds of cameras all over the truck that do all kinds of things. We're also utilizing eco carts, which are really cool thing offered by Cascade Carts, where it's actual plastics that you put at the curb to be recycled. That material is made back into these carts, and it's the first of its kind. We've also got a brand new cart size that'll be offered on October 1st, which is a 45-gallon size. We've got all kinds of cart color changes. So our garbage is now going to be gray and our yard waste will be green, and recycle will remain the blue color. The 10-gallon little mini cans are going away, and the smallest size will be a 20-gallon cart, which is actually an insert inside a 35-gallon cart. And that allows us to do fully automated collections. We're also going to offer, a 35-gallon garbage service 1 time a month. So those customers that really aren't generating a lot of garbage and putrescible garbage can use that service. We're replacing all the steel, what I call the front load garbage and recycle containers out there. They're mostly out at businesses. And we're doing that so that all the garbage will now be gray to align, with the color changes in the carts. We're putting in solar compactors. They're big bellies, and they'll go into Auburn parks. Those will all be installed the first week in October. And all your commercial customers are going to start receiving unlimited single stream recycling, whereas right now they were always limited to 150%. And we're going to be launching a social media campaign to get all the customers to get their new WM account number and to go online and register their account for preferences, how they'd like to be notified, which can be via phone, text, email, or to a cell phone. And they can sign up for paperless invoices. They can set up auto pay. And every customer that goes in and does that, we will donate $1 up to $5,000 to the Auburn Food Bank. So we're super excited to get that started a little bit later this year. And then those are just some of the highlights. I'm going to go to the right screen here. So in May, we did a postcard mailing to all the commercial businesses, letting them know about the changes that are going to be coming, what they should be looking for. And then in the next month, in June, we also launched our WM website. It's a news sheet that really has this kind of the same look with this little boy you see on the postcard, and all kinds of FAQs that we worked with Joan on to try to answer a lot of questions that people might have, where they could just go online and maybe get their question answered there. All of our steel container swaps that I talked about, those started in June, and those will actually run all the way through September. And we did a residential mailing to all the customers, again, trying to provide all of that information, which it's a lot to digest, I know, and put into just a smaller mailing. And then that bottom, new containers, new colors, that was an insert that was done in the city bills that went out, again, to let people know what was coming and what to expect. This month, it's not even this month anymore, it's August. So in July, our Recycle Corps interns started the outreach to all the commercial and multifamily properties in the city. We are still doing a lot of virtual outreach and connection. And when we need to, we go out onto a site and we can do inspections. We deliver tote bags, flyers, whatever a property might need to help them with the recycle programs. And then our cart removal delivery began on July 26th. And we also did a mailing to all the customers that have the 10-gallon cans to let them know that those would be going away, and we're actually delivering the 35-gallon with that 20-gallon insert, but they won't actually notice any different on their invoice until October 1st, when they have a chance to change that if that's not what they really want. And then in August, August 1st, we're in August, excuse me. August 1st, we started handling calls about cart swaps. I know the city is still taking on a lot of those calls because that's what people are used to. But we do have a new phone number, and it's for Auburn. It's 253-939-9792. And I would encourage people to call that number if they have concerns or questions about a cart swap that's happening right now. And yesterday at the farmers market, our interns were there, just again, answering questions, trying to let people see the carts. And I know there's a lot of questions about cart swaps that are going on right now. And we will be mailing letters to the West Hill and Lea Hill neighborhoods with all the changes that are upcoming. And then in September, we will do all of we're going to be changing from Republic services to our services. So right now, a lot of customers have personal cans. Those cans will be going away. And so we're coordinating with Republic on how that's all going to work, and that customers will get new carts, and that everybody comes under the garbage collection services. So that's another little undertaking that's happening. And then, like I mentioned, the reroute that's going on, we will be doing a mailing in mid-September to everybody so that they can see what their new collection day is. If they're affected by the reroute, not everybody will be, but there will definitely be some day changes and potentially, some recycle week changes. And then we've got 2 different virtual community events we're offering on September 18th and September 22nd, where folks can go online and register for those. And again, our public education team is managing those. October 1st starts the new contract. So a lot of work getting up to that point, and we're super excited about it. It's been a lot of planning going on. So we will be fully prepared to take all the calls for the City of Auburn. It's great. We've got some extended service hours at our call center, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We will also be mailing out a really nice information packet to everybody. Residential customers will get a packet. Commercial multifamily will get a different packet, but it will give all the detailed information about what can I put in my cart? What numbers do I call? How do I do on-demand bulky collection? And it will have a calendar in there also that will show them this is your recycle week. And of course, yard waste goes every single week. Like I said, we start the promotion for the customer communication preference where there's $1 going to the food bank. And we will install all the Big Belly solar compactors. And you can see on the right, we worked with Joan and Kathleen to create the look for what we call the wraps on those Big Bellies that'll go in the parks. So Parks Make Life Better is on the back side. And of course, the front side, you can see the recycle and the garbage. And then in November, I know this has been a big question for everybody. We will be sending out our first customer invoices to residents. And there is a switch from the monthly billing the city currently does to a quarterly billing that we do for residential customers. And we always bill 1 month in the arrears, and then that bill comes out in the current month, but it's not due until the end of the 3rd month. And this is just a sample on here of what the bill looks like and how you can pay if you have questions. So that's the big thing in November. Of course, the commercial multifamily kind of businesses, those will continue to be billed on a monthly basis. So that's another big change that's coming for residents, is that quarterly billing. And that was my quick presentation. I know that was a lot of information, and I am more than happy to answer any questions.
Questions from Laura, Council. Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Hello, Laura. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. I have been getting a lot of complaints about the residential area with just a single, couple, and they're getting those 30-gallon cans, and they do compost, and they said they don't need that big, can, and that they're being charged the same price. Is there since you're putting that 25 in that insert to make it into a 25, is that going to be the same cost as the 35-gallon one?
No, there'll be a different price for the 20-gallon, but the actual footprint of the cart, it's the 35-gallon cart, and then there's an insert that goes inside that cart. So the footprint is the same, and the price is different because we're reducing the capacity of what they can put into that cart.
Okay, because that is something that they're a little confused about. They said they called the city and they spoke to someone, and they said to contact us council members, and I go, well, I'm not the person to contact. So that's why I'm asking the question, because they were going to be on to listen. So I hope they heard what you had to say.
Yeah, and too, it's important to know that as we're doing all these swaps, we, because we're actually swapping and delivering 55,000 new carts and removing that many carts. And we've asked that people not try to change service levels right now, because everything that we have done up to this point, we've had to order those carts based on current service levels. And the one thing I will say for, the customers that have those 10-gallon cans, and we are delivering the new 35-gallon with the insert, they will continue to be billed at the 10-gallon can rate up until October 1st, when they can call us. And if they don't want that 20-gallon insert, if they want something bigger, or if they want to go to the 35-gallon one time a month collection, they can make that change then. But for the sake of just trying to get everything swapped out and delivered, that's kind of, why that's happening, but they're not being charged anything extra for that.
Okay, thank you. And we got
welcome.
all of ours exchanged today. So thank you.
Nice. Do they look good?
They do. They're really nice. Thank you.
They're pretty.
Councilmember J. Raj.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question is Laura, can you explain a little bit more on the billing cycle? I've got a couple of questions on that.
Okay. I'm not a billing expert, but I do know we bill quarterly. So when we start the contract in October, we will start billing October 1st, and residential customers will receive their first invoice from Waste Management in mid-November. That invoice will be for the months of October, November, and December, but that invoice is not due until the end of December. So that's a 3-month, that's a quarterly bill cycle. Is that what you wanted to know?
That is what I wanted to know, but the thing I am concerned about right now is that being communicated to the public? Because what is the 3-month billing going to be like? Because if it gets a little bit too high, there are going to be people who won't be able to pay that amount, because it's also during the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to make that any easier for folks, other than instead of paying monthly, they would just pay, for 3 months at a time. And I guess you just have to kind of set that money aside if you know that billing is coming that way. As far as communicating that, we have a lot of information on our website for the news sheet I talked about with the FAQs that explain that. And in the packet that'll be mailed out October 1st, that will have information, about the new bill cycle forum.
So why don't we get cards like you have sent out, send cards like that to the residents and letting them know that the billing cycle is going to be once every 3 months.
It will be.
I'm concerned at this point.
Yeah, no, I understand. There will, like I said, there'll be information that mails out when we do the big packet of information that'll go out the week of October 4th.
I mean, you've got carts out ready at this point. Why don't we get ahead of before the billing cycle happens? Is my concern.
And we can make sure our city website is updated as well. And we can do that update now. So we'll work with our utilities group and make sure that we really highlight that information on the city's website with all the utility information as well.
I basically don't want our residents to get blindsided, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, Councilmember J. Raj, let me have Mayor Backus jump in here. She may have a couple of items that she can update us on here.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So for one thing, when the billing begins, there will be a month or two that the customers are not paying their regular billing, which would be on a monthly basis through the city of Auburn. So now that that billing is going to Waste Management, there will be at least a month, if not 2 or 3, that the customer city resident will not be paying for their waste, solid waste service. So we will be providing more information to the customers, but they're not going to be asked to be paying a significant amount more of money, because hopefully they will have realized that they did not pay for at least 2, possibly 3 months, and that money will still be available to them. But we will make sure that both the city and Waste Management are providing that information in a manner that our residents will be able to understand.
Okay, Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah. Listen, good presentation. I was wondering, could we get a copy of that presentation? Good. And also, what was that phone number again that you gave out?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's 253-939-9792.
Got it. Thank you.
Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now seems like as good as time as any to ask. Can you review for our constituents, who are suffering because of the pandemic? It's been a financial hardship on a lot of people. What sort of program you have for people who are, low income or just, need assistance?
Wow, well, that's a great question. I'm not sure I really have an answer for that one. I think that the way the city handles billing could potentially be a little different than the way Waste Management does. I think I'll be working with Joan where there are, senior discounts and, things like that. Those processes will still remain in place. But Waste Management doesn't necessarily provide assistance to people for their garbage service. I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah, people who will have a hard time paying their bills. I mean, that's just part of the reality, especially in in these times with the pandemic and in our city.
Oh, Councilmember Stearns, Director Thomas has something to add to that.
Yes, thank you. Just to maybe help add a little bit more clarification for the full council, ultimately it's the city that requires garbage and solid waste service to city residents. So it is Auburn's ultimately our bill. The Waste Management acts as our owner agent. So they're billing on our behalf. So any rebate and credit programs and utility assistance programs will really be offered through the city and coordinated through Waste Management. So any rebate programs, again, would be part of our overall utility program, rebate program, or in a grant assistance programs that we would come up with and offered then indirectly through Waste Management. So again, there are rates and they're billing on our behalf.
Right. So is that something we can send out to our constituents? How to get that? Or can you help us with that?
Are you asking about a program for us to develop in the city of Auburn
I'm whatever you explained, something that the city could do, and I'm just saying, how do we let our constituents know about that?
Yes, absolutely. So that is actually, we have had a couple of rounds of a similar program for our utilities over the last year. And we're really looking to see what kind of assistance for all utilities will be provided directly through the state, through some of the ARPA funding that they're receiving. We're still waiting on a lot of information on what kind of programs will be available, and then working in coordination with whatever state programs are available. That's definitely something on our list of programs that we're looking at, not just for necessarily solid waste, but for all of our utilities.
Okay, well, that'd be great. So that information will not come from Waste Management, though?
It would be in coordination with, so we would have a program that we would offer for other city utilities. And then if we were also offering a program for solid waste, we would work in concert with Waste Management to make sure any credits or rebate programs do flow through and get billed accordingly through, or credited accordingly through Waste Management.
Okay, so we'll work with them to get this information out just as soon as we can.
Once we know what kind of resources are available
Right.
elsewhere, and then we can help supplement any other programs that are available elsewhere. We would make
Okay.
sure that we work with Waste Management, correct?
Great, thank you.
Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. One other question I had was, the billing, is that going to be paper billing?
Did you say paper?
Mm-hmm.
Well, customers can receive paper billing, or they can register at their account on wm.com for paperless, if that's what they'd like to do.
Okay.
They have a choice. Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions, council? All right, seeing none. So Laura, thank you very much for being with us tonight and giving us the information. And I'm glad to see we're at this point and moving forward. And I was up on around Dogwood today, and I saw the cans being delivered, the new blue ones being delivered as well. So it was a seamless process going on in the neighborhood up there. Very good. And
Nice.
yeah, thumbs up. So and Joan,
Nice. Yeah, they're
sorry we couldn't hear you.
working fast and frantically out there.
Okay, great. Okay. And Joan, sorry we couldn't hear you too well, but thank you for all the work you've done on this and on the contract, working with Waste Management, getting us to this point. And Jamie, you and your staff as well. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, and great presentation. All right, next council on our agenda is ordinance number 6828 with Director Tate.
And I'll make this real quick and turn it over to Alexandria Teague, planner who works in our planning services group.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, let me start by sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
And okay, without the notes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Good evening, council members. My name is Alexandria. I am a planner too with community development. I'm here tonight to discuss the portable sign code update. The materials submitted for my presentation begin on page 4 of your packet, and I have about 8 slides to get through. The portable sign code update has been discussed with Planning Commission at the June 8th regular Planning Commission meeting and at the August 20th special meeting, which was a public hearing. My intent tonight is to provide a brief history of signs in the downtown urban center, discuss the proposed changes, and touch on enforcement of portable signs. There it is. Okay. So let me start with providing background on the downtown urban center zoning district. The downtown urban center zoning district, or DUC zone that I'll reference, it's located roughly within the boundary shown here, the red outline in the aerial. The boundary has slightly changed over time, but this is the current configuration. This is the area, same area, but showing the zoning designation color, which is this pink. The purpose of the DUC zone is to create a distinct and strong identity for the downtown Auburn through land use, that's zoning regulations, and through design standards. This is the intent statement for the DUC zone. The DUC zone has zoning development standards and design standards that are particular to the DUC. The DUC specific zoning development standards are contained within Chapter 1829 of the City Code, and the DUC specific design standards are contained in the DUC design standards document. The cover I have shown here. Staff is proposing to amend the portable sign standards contained in Chapter 1829 and the DUC design standards document. The effect of those changes will apply only within the DUC boundary shown here. So why is staff proposing these changes? Previously, the city allowed temporary signs, which also meant portable signs throughout the city, not just the DUC zone. Temporary sign means any sign or advertising display constructed of light materials intended to be displayed for a limited time only. I should note that a portable sign is defined as any sign made of any material, including paper or cardboard, that is capable of being moved easily and not permanently affixed to the ground. This also includes sidewalk and sandwich board signs. In Auburn, portable signs are nearly synonymous with sandwich or sidewalk signs, examples that you see here. But the temporary sign provisions that allowed temporary signs throughout the city sunsetted in 2016, and portable signs are now prohibited everywhere except in the DUC zone, except for real estate signs. Also, prior to sunsetting of the code, the city had a no-fee sign permit for temporary signs. The purpose of the no-fee sign permit was to ensure a sign's compliance with city code. After the temporary sign provisions that allowed portable signs throughout the city sunsetted, the no-fee sign permit for temporary signs ended as well. I want to take this opportunity to discuss the no-fee sign permit program that sunsetted with the temporary sign provisions. So this slide shows the temporary sign authorization form. This particular slide shows the form for the public right-of-way, but we have one for private property, looks essentially the same. This form was the application essentially for the no-fee sign permit program. We no longer use this form, but it's relevant to the discussion now. So as part of signing this application, businesses verify the type, the quantity, and the size of their temporary signs. Businesses also understood that the authorization was temporary in nature and it did not vest. So there was no grandfathering. That's why I highlighted number 5 and I've highlighted number 1 on this application. Even though the temporary sign provisions sunsetted, portable signs, however, are still allowed in the DUC zone. This is because the specific DUC zoning development standards still contain provisions for portable signs. It's okay because portable signs are a good tool to help businesses. But since 2016, there has been an increase in non-compliant portable signs, non-compliant in the number, the placement, the size, and the design of this portable sign. It has made staff recognize that portable sign standards, both the zoning development standards and the design standards, need to be reviewed and revised. I want to state, though, that if an applicant received a permit for a portable sign under the no-fee sign permit that existed prior to 2016, they should still be consistent with the proposed code. The main difference in the proposed code that would make a business's sign non-compliant is the distance in which a sign can be placed. I'll discuss the proposed changes in a minute, but essentially if a sign complied with a no-fee sign permit program or the existing portable signs, then the code should not affect an existing portable sign. Although if it did not and does not comply, then it is subject to code enforcement as any non-compliant sign would. And while it's true that a new sign will need to employ the design standards for portable signs, because the goal of the DUC is to have expressive signs, be it portable signs, projecting signs, or wall signs, a reason for enforcement will not be because the sign is not expressive, the existing sign is not expressive or artistic enough. So let me move through the proposed changes. They're relatively simple, so I can just walk through them with council. So the proposed changes are intended to clarify and improve and reinforce the existing portable sign standards, and 2, address some challenges with portable signs that have occurred over the years, and 3, foster an overall consistency and aesthetic look of portable signs in the downtown. So I'll go over the key changes to 1829 of the City Code, that chapter. I'll walk through the changes to the existing standards on this slide, and then I'll talk about the new standards on the next slide. So starting from the top, In A or 4, one portable sign or a portable sign is allowed for each business entrance. In A, staff clarified how far from each business entrance a sign can be located. We added language about not creating a sight distance hazard to pedestrians, and also provided language as to when additional signs would be allowed during a special event. We enlarged the signs from 36 by 32, from 36 by 32 to 42 by 32, just to allow some differentiation in sign size. In E, we reinforced the statement that a sign needs to be put away when a business is closed. Sorry, that's an E, yeah. And we crossed out D, the crossed out D and E, the crossed out here, and they're proposed to be moved to the portable sign design standards because those two are more design in nature. Okay, so now I'll go over the new standards to be added, the new zoning development standards to be added. Starting from the top again. So in B, that provision 1856030 contains maintenance and safety provisions for all signs. It essentially says that signs and components thereof, they must be maintained in good repair in a safe, neat, clean, attractive condition. If not, then the sign needs to be replaced. This is already true for existing signs. We just codified it, included it in the zoning development standards, particular to portable signs. In D, the purpose of this standard is to address the issue of portable signs being affixed to city infrastructure, street lights, things of that nature. It's already not allowed to affix your sign to attach your sign to city infrastructure. In F, the purpose of this is to address the issue of required landscaping being covered or cut or damaged for someone to locate their portable sign. It's already not allowed to cut or modify required landscaping, even on private property, without city approval through what's called a landscape plan revision. And in G, the purpose of G is to require a sign permit for portable signs. The intent of this standard, though, is to resurrect the no-fee sign permit. This will help staff ensure a portable sign's compliance with city code. And I've included a tiny picture of the permit sticker that will be affixed to the back of someone's sign. So this is what the sticker, we still have them, so we'll just use them. The changes to 1829 includes a code correction as well. The DUC design standards are one of 4 architectural and site design documents adopted by the city. The 4 documents are shown here on the left, numbered 1 through 4. The regulations governing the architectural and site design documents are contained in 1831-200 on the left. Section 1831-200D was updated in 2019 to state that the design documents may be amended by the community development director instead of city council. This update applied to all design documents, and other corresponding sections of code were also updated to reflect this change, but we missed changing the language in 1829. Specifically, section 1829-070 still states the DUC design standards are to be amended by city council. So we need to update the language to reflect the correction made in 2019. And then finally, moving on to the changes to the DUC design standards. The purpose, as I mentioned, amending the portable sign design standard is to create a new set of design standards specifically for portable signs. Notably, portable signs are the only type of signs allowed in the DUC that did not have or do not have specific design standards. We have the 6 new design standards that you see on the screen here. These standards are intended to require that portable signs are well made, they're durable, and they really promote signs that are stylish, creative, and contribute to the overall character of the downtown, and also as well, catch people's attention. So that actually concludes my presentation. It's very brief, but I am happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Alexandria Council? I am not seeing any hands raised at this time. I do. Councilmember J. Raj, sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It was a last minute decision. I do have a question, and that has to do with political signs. How do we treat them? Because it's political season, election season is in the corner right now.
Yeah, we do in our sign cap chapter, we do have standards specific to political signs. The proposed regulations that I have here, they don't change that. I think they're a lot like, I actually have the sign code up, and I think they're allowed on a temporary basis. I think after a certain period of time, you basically have to remove the sign. But there are, well, I guess what I'm saying is there are provisions in the sign code chapter 1856 particular that I think address political signs.
Okay, Director Tate, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that when we get to the election seasons, one of the things that we do is we reach out to campaign offices to remind offices what the requirements are, the restrictions are with respect to political signs. And while it's really not our business to be, limiting a candidate's ability to inform the community that they're running for office, we do have some requirements where we say that, you can't affix a political sign to a guardrail. You can't affix a political sign to a power pole. You can't put them in locations that might create a sight distance issue at an intersection for vehicular traffic. And we also inform candidates that we know that political signs cost money. So if we do find signs that are in those locations, we'll collect those signs and we deposit them at a location at the maintenance and operations facility. So the candidates can go retrieve those signs and place them in other locations so that they're not losing out on the expense associated with those signs.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I was just a little, maybe you could help me. I was a little bit confused because, let's see, it was in this third slide, fourth slide, fifth slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Proposed changes to the chapter, that slide. And then on that, it said the existing sign, the standards to be modified. And then it crossed out the move, spin, flash, or otherwise animated. And then further down, it said that they're not to be animated, move, spin, or flash. So I was just confused. Is that a yes or a no?
That is a no. Those provisions were D and E. They were crossed out from the existing portable signs and they were moved to the sign design standards document. And in that document, that still says they can't move, spin, or flash or otherwise be animated.
Oh, wow. That seems like a bummer. I want to see a flashing spinning sign. Is there a reason for that? It's just like dangerous.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not like a sign that'll jump out and scare you, but
I think they're just they would probably be a sight distance. Well, not a sight distance hazard, but it would probably be a sight hazard because they're a bit distracting. Anything that spins or moves, I think, would be distracting for vehicles. So I think that's why. And I guess from other standpoint of the portable sign, you know, you want it to like direct people, to catch people's attention. And I think if it, I guess if it moved, it would, but
Be like this.
yeah,
I don't
think-
know. It's fair enough. Thank you. I totally understand now. And, I really appreciate you indulging me on that question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Stearns, I'm sorry, no bells and whistles, but maybe someday. Okay. Question I have is those businesses that may have a sandwich board sign that's outside of the DUC, how do we address that?
Well, if it's an issue, then what I mean by if it's an issue, so it's probably non-compliant, and I would say our code enforcement is not necessarily proactive; they're reactive, and that's by design. So if it becomes an issue, then we would tell them, well, you can't have this particular type of sign. There are other types of signs that are available. But if it's not an issue, then it would just remain. So it becomes an issue if like someone complains that it's blocking the sidewalk, so it's in the middle of the sidewalk, or other area cuts someone's landscaping. There's other ways that brings it to our attention, but I don't think we typically go out looking for these things.
Sure. So, Councilor Baggett, I'll get to you in a second. Just so Jeff, I believe we did include those signs maybe in the past where we allowed that. Is there any reason why we couldn't do that again? I mean, it seems like businesses, as long as they're not obstructing and not violating city code, may want to have some better identification at their business location outside of the DUC.
Yeah. So years ago, during the economic downturn, the city created a very liberal set of temporary portable sign allowances. Those too have expired, and we have been selective in our enforcement of portable signs outside the DUC. When I say selective, I'm reiterating what Alex said, which is where we find that there's an obstruction to a sidewalk, or there's an issue at a site distance, at an intersection. There's probably a dozen reasons we would go out and initiate an enforcement action or move. Enforcement action sounds so formal. It basically means you walk inside the store and you start talking to the people about moving their sign. And most of the time people comply with that. So I would characterize our approach as selective enforcement where it's an issue. Portable signs are hard because we want to see them in a downtown pedestrian area. They're important. Outside of a pedestrian environment where you get into vehicular commercial areas, obviously the business owners feel that they're important to have from a city planning and zoning perspective. They don't tend to contribute to the vibrancy of commercial areas the same way they do in a pedestrian area. So we've chosen, right, wrong, or indifferent, we've chosen to take a selective enforcement approach and only take enforcement action where there's an identifiable issue. We could certainly revisit that. I wouldn't suggest doing that as part of this ordinance. I would suggest doing that as part of a separate effort so that this ordinance can move forward. But if council would like to learn more about portable signs outside the DUC and initiate a conversation about that and what the options are, I think we'd be happy to facilitate that.
I think that would be good to do in the time frame you could provide it in naturally, but it may be good for council to just kind of go back through that once again. The economic downturn has not been with us for a while, but it seems like our continuing issues with pandemic may be with us for a while, although businesses are open, and maybe it'd just be a good time to just visit that and see if there's any opportunity to revisit that once again.
Okay.
Councilmember Okay, thank you. Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Alexandria, just a quick question. Who would actually be doing, or this may be Jeff that could answer it as well. Who would actually be the enforcement team for this? Would it be code enforcement?
Yes, it would be code enforcement.
Okay. I did notice, and this may not pertain to portable signs, but I've noticed that occasionally a couple of businesses through the city there have the use of strobe lights, which are definite distractions to drivers. And I was wondering, I haven't looked lately to find out if they're still there, but there were a couple of businesses that did use those. And it was part of their advertising, obviously, to get the attention to their sign. It was usually in their window. How do we treat those? Would that also be something that would be not allowed?
Correct. I'd have to look at the prohibited signs, and yes, flashing signs are prohibited. I'd have to look in the code. There's a subsection here as to what's the exception for it, but a beacon light, yeah. The lights, except for if it's used for I guess vehicular traffic coordination or something. I'm just looking in the code right now. Then blinking light, strobe light would be allowed. Otherwise, no. For basically for a commercial business to have a sign, no, that they wouldn't. It's not allowed to flash.
Yeah, because it's usually the ones I've seen have been on the on Auburn Way, and that's definitely a very busy thoroughfare. So, anyway, thank you, Alexandria.
Welcome.
Councilmember Stearns, go ahead.
I was just going to recommend that we allow Jeff to deputize the junior city council to conduct code enforcement.
Interesting suggestion. Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Jeff for bringing up the campaign signs, because he does reach out to all the candidates and give us the proper places and places for us to put them and not to put them. And my campaign has been doing really well, making sure we do not put them when they're not supposed to be.
Councilmember Trout-Manuel, I'm sorry, but you cannot talk about anything having to do with your own campaign.
Okay.
During a council meeting.
All right, I apologize, but I just wanted to make it clear that it was the proper way of doing it was followed.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and council, as we discussed, this is related to ordinance number 6828. So other items that we brought up this evening in relation to like signage outside of the DUC and such, not part of this ordinance. So we'll move forward with the ordinance. Any other questions before we let Alexandria go? All right, Jeff, thank you. Alexandria, thank you very much.
Thank you, council members.
Okay, council, we do not have any items on our finance, technology, and economic development special focus area this evening, so we'll bypass that. Are there any other discussion items this evening? Any new business? Oh, Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Councilmember Trout-Manuel, you're muted.
Thank you. I had an individual call me and brought up the question about the GSA building that is going up to for sale. They wanted to know what is the city planning, if they have any detailed plans in effect for the zoning and for that, and plans for scheduling for the right owners to come in. They just sent me a little brief information on what they wanted me to ask.
Councilmember Trout-Manuel, you as a city council voted to change the zoning for that piece of property about 3 years ago. And the city of Auburn does not have, the city of Auburn is not the owner of that property. It is through the federal government. Jeff, you might have some additional information, but you as a city council did change the zoning on a few years ago.
I do recall that. Thank you.
I'm happy to just mention for council's benefit that, yeah, the zoning was changed from light manufacturing to heavy commercial. And as we get inquiries from potential buyers who may be interested in buying the property from the federal government, when they ask questions like, what is the vision? I say that the vision is to be consistent with the heavy commercial C3 zoning designation, and that the city has not and typically wouldn't with private property. It may be owned by the government, but it's still private property. So we typically don't establish vision outside of the zoning designations for property.
Thank you, Jeff, for clarifying that.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, that concludes our business for this evening, and everybody please stay safe out there. Enjoy the real warm weather that's coming, and be cool. So we are adjourned. Thank you.